Have you ever wondered if someone could actually run faster than the finest horses of a king's royal chariot? What if I told you that it happened thousands of years ago? Imagine the sheer amazement of onlookers as a seemingly ordinary man outruns horses bred for speed. This is no myth or legend, but a true story from ancient times that still leaves us in awe today. How could this be possible? Was it a miracle? Or something else entirely? In today's video, we're going to dive into one of the most fascinating and miraculous stories found in the Bible. It's a tale of divine intervention, a prophet chosen by God who defied human limitations and left everyone speechless. This is the story of a prophet who outran the speed of horses, not by his own strength, setting the stage. A land divided by faith. Our story begins in a time of immense turmoil. The kingdom of Israel, once united in faith, had become divided under the corrupt rule of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. The nation was torn apart by idolatry and false worship. Jezebel, a fierce follower of the pagan god Baal, led the people into spiritual chaos, promoting rituals and practices that went against the one true God. Baal was worshipped as the god of storms and fertility, but his influence brought only darkness to the land. With corruption spreading like wildfire, many of God's laws were forgotten, and the people's hearts turned away from the God of Israel. But as the people strayed, God did not abandon them. Instead, he raised up a prophet named Elijah. Elijah was no ordinary man. He was chosen by God to restore faith in the hearts of the Israelites, to confront the false gods, and remind the people of who the true God really was. The showdown on Mount Carmel. Elijah's mission brought him face to face with the prophets of Baal, in what would become one of the most famous spiritual showdowns in history. On Mount Carmel, Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a test. This wasn't just any test. It was designed to prove once and for all who was the real God. The rules were simple. Each side would prepare a sacrificial offering, but neither would light the fire themselves. The true God would reveal himself by sending fire from heaven to consume the sacrifice. The stage was set for an unforgettable battle of faith. From morning until noon, the prophets of Baal danced, shouted, and even cut themselves in a desperate attempt to call down fire from their God. But nothing happened. No fire, no voice, only silence. Then Elijah stepped forward, mocking them, asking if their God was perhaps sleeping or too busy to respond. As the day drew on, it became clear that Baal wasn't going to show up. Elijah, on the other hand, was ready to demonstrate the power of the God of Israel. Elijah repaired the altar of the Lord, using 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. He made the test even more impossible by having the entire altar drenched with water, not once, but 3 times, until water filled a trench around the altar. There was no natural way this altar could catch fire. Then Elijah prayed a simple but powerful prayer, calling on God to reveal his power. What happened next stunned everyone. Fire rained down from heaven, consuming not only the sacrifice but also the wood, the stones, and even the water. The people of Israel fell to their knees, shouting, "The Lord, He is God." In that moment, the falsehood of Baal was exposed, and the faith of the Israelites was restored. The promise of rain. But Elijah's mission wasn't over yet. A severe drought had plagued Israel for 3 years, and now, after the miraculous showdown on Mount Carmel, God promised that rain would soon return to the land. Elijah told King Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, for I hear the sound of a heavy rain." While Ahab went to celebrate, Elijah climbed to the top of Mount Carmel to pray. He prayed with great intensity, placing his face between his knees, asking God to send the rain. 6 times Elijah sent his servant to look out towards the sea, and each time the servant returned with no news. But Elijah did not give up. On the 7th time the servant saw something, a small cloud, no larger than a man's hand, rising from the sea. Elijah knew this was the sign he had been waiting for. The rain was coming. The race against the storm. Now here's where the story takes an incredible turn. Ahab, confident in the speed of his royal horses, set off in his chariot. But Elijah wasn't finished yet. Fueled by divine power, Elijah prepared to run on foot. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. Driven by the Spirit of God, Elijah began running, and not just at any pace. He was running faster than anyone thought possible. In a supernatural display of strength, Elijah outran Ahab's chariot, which was pulled by the finest horses in the kingdom. Imagine the scene. Ahab's chariot racing through the rugged terrain, the storm clouds gathering overhead, the wind howling, and the rain beginning to pour. Yet, as fast as the horses were, Elijah on foot was running ahead of them. How could this be? How could a man possibly outrun horses? A divine display of power. This wasn't just about physical speed. Elijah's miraculous run was a testament to the power of God. It showed that when we rely on divine strength, we can surpass even the greatest human limitations. Elijah's run wasn't just about reaching Jezreel before the rain. It was a living demonstration that God can empower his people to do the impossible. This feat wasn't a result of Elijah's own abilities. It was the Spirit of God working through him. With each step, Elijah was propelled by divine energy, defying the laws of nature. What should have been an exhausting journey became an awe-inspiring sprint fueled by faith. The impact of the miracle. When Elijah arrived in Jezreel before King Ahab, it wasn't just a physical victory. It was a spiritual statement. The people who witnessed Elijah's speed were left in shock. This was not a normal human achievement. It was a sign of God's power working through his prophet. For King Ahab, who had seen God's power at Mount Carmel and now witnessed Elijah's supernatural speed, this was undeniable proof of the divine.